get comfy. Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is okay. I am filming the long-awaited weight loss surgery Q&A. I feel like, do you know what? I did my tan last night. I used a new tan, which I'm not allowed to speak about just yet, but I am obsessed. Like, I feel like my colour has just gone so nice. My skin, I literally only have like a tiny little bit of Flawless filter over the top. And it is giving. But yeah, I've just made myself a iced coffee. Although you can tell it's that warm today. My ice has melted. Oh yeah. I've used that new syrup that I got from Home Sense on Monday, and oh my days. Right, anyway, getting down to business. I had such a massive response to my question box over on Instagram, full of questions. I mean, some of the questions were similar, so I'm not going to do every single question, but I've picked out and screenshot most asked questions. Right, so without any further ado, I have written my questions down and I'm just going to go ahead and answer them. So I suppose the most asked question is, what was my starting weight, what was my starting size, and how much weight have I lost? So I was weighing at my heaviest just before I left home for surgery, and I was weighing at 15 stone 8, and that was the heaviest that I'd ever been. And I'll be honest, guys, I was miserable. I've had this conversation a lot over on Instagram where people said to me, and still to this day say to me, that I wasn't that big to begin with. And I know that that comes from a nice place. I feel like we need to move away from whether someone looks deemable to have weight loss surgery. I've spoken in depth over on my Instagram about the fact that my choice to have weight loss surgery ran so much deeper than how I physically looked, because anyone looking at me, for me, like looking on my Instagram, would probably not know the absolute turmoil that I was in. They would just see me, someone that was a little bit overweight, but living their best life. And that could not have been so further from the truth, that I feel like this perception that we have about a person looking like they need to have weight loss surgery, I do feel like that needs to go. And I mean that with love, because as I said, I know people say it from a place of like not malicious at all, but my life before I went and had weight loss surgery was on its arse. I was at rock bottom. My marriage had failed. I'd separated from my husband. I was living alone. I was in a vicious cycle of binge eating, making myself sick, bullying myself, constantly ripping myself apart. Like, I would literally tear myself to shreds every time I looked in the mirror. I had the absolute worst relationship with food, and mentally I just wasn't in a good place, guys. And not just that, I was pre-diabetic. I carried a lot of my weight on my bottom half, so my bum and my legs. And I was told that the joints in my legs were suffering so bad, that there was a multitude of reasons behind me having weight loss surgery. And it wasn't just because of how I looked and whether I looked big enough. So yes, my heaviest was 15 stone 8. And I set myself the target, my initial target of wanting to lose 5 stone. So I wanted to be 10.5 stone. I hadn't been 10.5 stone since I was a teenager. And that was my target, lose 5 stone, but first and foremost, regain that relationship with food and myself where I wasn't making myself sick. I was in a much healthier, happier relationship with food and myself. And that was my target, that was my goal. I wanted to be in a better place mentally, physically, and emotionally when it came to food and myself. So I reached my 5 stone target I had my surgery March, so March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So 8 months I lost my 5 stone, and that was my first initial target. And it is said to you before you have weight loss surgery that you can go on to lose more. After that, I lost another 2 stone, like over like a year period. I think the lowest that I got to was just above 8 stone. I think it was about 8 stone 3. But for me personally, that was too much. And I'd spoken on my Instagram about the fact that I wanted to put on weight, and thankfully I have regained about half a stone, and well, half a stone to a stone. So now I average around about 8 stone 10, 9 stone. And do you know what? I'm really happy with that. So I don't really focus too much on how much weight I've lost. I don't really focus on what weight I am. I haven't weighed myself for a very long time, but I'm an average size 8. But once again, it depends on the shops that I shop in. Sometimes I can fit in a size 6, a size 8, and a size 10. It completely depends on where I'm shopping, but I don't focus on that. I focus on how my clothes fit. And for the first time in a very long time, I'm not worried about what weight I am at all. So I don't weigh myself very often. I weighed myself weekly in the beginning until I got to, I think it was about 6 weeks. And then 6 weeks, I took it monthly. So then I weighed myself every month. And then it got to maybe a year post-op, and I just stopped weighing completely. And I just weighed when I felt necessary. So I feel like that was a big part of my journey, was learning to not fixate over the scales or anything else like that. And that for me was the biggest thing that I took from having my weight loss surgery, was the ability to not worry about what the scale said and just focus on me and my relationship with the food that I was eating and the relationship with myself. Next question, do I have any regrets? Absolutely none. None, guys. It's funny because a lot of people do say, did you have any regrets in the beginning? Like, don't get me wrong, weight loss surgery is hard. It's one of the hardest things I've ever been through. It's not a walk in the park, guys. It really isn't. It will test you to your limits, but do I have any regrets? No. Another question is time taken before I drank ale, and did it affect my relationship? I can't actually remember the first time I drank. I think it was, you are meant to wait 4 weeks, I think, or it could actually be longer. It could be 6 weeks. I think it's 6 weeks actually. So you're meant to wait 6 weeks. I think I waited 8. But I think that was just because I'm not a big drinker, although I have been out quite a lot lately. But as a rule, I can kind of take it or leave it. I don't need to drink to have a good time. And so I think I waited 8 weeks before my first drink. And I think my first drink was a vodka and cranberry juice, if I remember right. And did it affect my relationship? Obviously, you guys know, who have followed me for a while, that at the time that I had weight loss surgery, me and Paul had separated. I was living in my own house. We saw each other all the time. Obviously, we share Tilly, we share the kids. And Paul is my best friend. So he was one of the only people that I told I was having weight loss surgery. He'd known that I'd wanted to have it for a very long time. And yeah, he supported me the whole way through it. So if anything, having the weight loss surgery brought us back together, because I found myself again and thankfully found him again as well. So it didn't affect our relationship negatively. He is so proud of obviously what I've achieved, and he loved me regardless. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's my husband. We've been married for 2 years before I had the surgery. We've been together 12 years. Paul loved me regardless, but he always knew that I wasn't happy and I needed to do something for me. So he is my #1 fan and has supported me from the get-go. So it hasn't affected our relationship negatively at all. If anything, it saved it. When could I start to eat more and how many calories do I have? I'll be honest guys, I don't track my protein, I don't track my calories. I've got no idea how many calories I eat. I would say that I'm eating just a normal amount, like the average adult amount of calories, because I am maintaining now. So I would say I eat a normal amount of calories, but as I said, I don't track it. When did I start to eat more? I think for me personally, the first 12 weeks were hard. Really, really, really hard. I could not eat a thing. I really didn't like puree. I didn't like the puree stage at all. And so I kind of didn't really go through that transition enough for my body, my tummy, to kind of accept food. And so I think because of that, it just took a longer transition for me personally to get back to eating like solids. So yeah, it did take me the full 12 weeks to be able to eat properly. But it is strange because I do remember like literally hitting 12 weeks post-op and then like a switch had been like switched and I was able to eat. There was no sort of like gradual there's no like gradual movement. It literally was one day I couldn't eat, the next day I could. It was so strange. But yeah, around about 12-13 weeks, that's when I felt like I could really eat food and enjoy food again. Before that, as I said, it was a struggle, but not a struggle enough to think and I'd had any regrets or I was struggling that much. I feel like, especially in your early days, you are not hungry at all. So if anything, it was more of a case of remembering to eat rather than wanting to eat. Was I scared? I'm gonna say no. Nervous might be a better word, but even then I don't think I was nervous. The only thing that scared me, and you guys might laugh, but anyone who knows me will know, the one thing I was scared of was having my bloods done. Other than that, didn't bat an eyelid. But I do think that maybe because obviously I've had cancer and I've gone through quite serious operations beforehand, that having a sleeve, it's keyhole surgery, and so in my head I was thinking, even though obviously it's a life-changing operation, it is serious, I didn't really make the correlation between what I'd already been through with my neck and what I was going to go through with my sleeve. So no, I wasn't scared at all. If anything, a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive, not really knowing what to expect, but if anything, I was just really excited to get my life back. Do I have to try hard to not put any weight on, and did I tone up? This is a question that I've been asked a lot, like what do I do to tone up? Guys, I haven't been to the gym. I've not been to the gym once, or maybe tell a lie, I've maybe been to the gym once. I've been lucky that maybe because I haven't had children of my own, or my skin hadn't been stretched that much, that my skin has bounced back. So I've not done anything in particular to tone up. If anything, I've had to try hard to put on weight, if that makes sense. I spoke obviously briefly about the fact that I had reached my lowest weight and I wanted to regain. So if anything, I've always tried to put on weight rather than lose more weight, if that makes sense. Ooh. Next question is, do I eat normal portions, and is there any food that I can't eat? I would say I eat normal portions. I don't always finish a normal portion. I would say my portion size is a little bit bigger than a starter size, but still on a main plate, and I just eat what it is that I can. If I end up leaving a little bit, then usually Paul or Max will finish it for me. Yeah, I always plate up on a normal size plate and I just eat what I can. Some days I will have high restrictions, some days my restriction won't be that bad. And in terms of foods that I can't eat, there isn't anything that I can't eat now. I did struggle with rice for a long time. I think I struggled with rice for about a year. But then I started having like little bits of sushi. I'm not a sushi person usually, but like duck, chicken and vegetable sushi, yes, I love that. And I think because I was starting to introduce like sushi into my diet, I was able to handle rice a lot better. So I still have rice now. There isn't any food that I don't eat that I didn't eat beforehand. Nothing. Do I reach my protein and do I meal prep? If I'm being brutally honest, guys, I don't meal prep at all. Apart from like meal prepping for the kids, like I plan our meals like I would do any other normal family, but I don't prep my own meals individually. Like I don't think to myself, right, I'm gonna have chicken and veg, so I have like set plans. I don't do that. And if I'm being honest, guys, I've got no idea if I hit my protein. I've never tracked protein. I've never tracked anything. I've never tracked my calories or anything. I've just always, like I said, ran by the rule of picking my proteins first. Do I grieve my old life? No, I don't think I do, guys. It's a hard one because the memories that I have from back then, they're not good memories, guys. And if anything, socializing now is different, yes, but it's never stopped me. I still go out for meals, I still go out and drink. There's absolutely no difference to how my life is now to how my life was before, apart from the fact that I'm so much more happier. And I suppose I've learned that going out and socializing now is about the socializing. I go out to spend time with my friends and my family, whereas beforehand it would be fixated with what food I was eating or what drinks I was having. So I know I wouldn't say I grieve my old life. If anything, it was the troubles within my own life that pushed me to have the weight loss surgery in the first place. So no, I would say I don't have any grief for my previous life. Oh, I must get asked this question daily. And once again, I know it doesn't come from a malicious place, but I feel like people don't believe me when I say I haven't had any more cosmetic surgery. I'm very open and honest, guys, and I do feel like if I had any more surgeries, I would have told you. Surely I would have told you. And I haven't had anything. And I feel like sometimes that's hard to keep repeating myself because it's almost like people don't believe me when I say I haven't had anything else. Apart from like lip filler, but that is it. I haven't had my boobs done, I haven't had my arms done, I haven't had my legs done. I do have loose skin, guys. And obviously you guys on Instagram will know how conscious I am of my boobs. So surely if I was gonna have any surgeries, I would have my boobs done and you would know. But no, I haven't had any other cosmetic procedures. I haven't got any plans to have anything else. And if I was going to, I probably would have my boobs done, but I'm not in any rush to have anything done. I'm so incredibly proud of how my body looks now, and I suppose once again, thanks to my cancer battle, I have learned with the fact that I'm not perfect and that's okay. As I said, the whole point of my weight loss surgery wasn't necessarily to do with how I looked. Don't get me wrong, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't like how I looked, and that was an aspect of it, because of course it is. But first and foremost, I really wanted to get out of the vicious cycle of going down the road of making myself sick and just having that really toxic relationship with myself and food, that because I've now come the other side, I'm so incredibly proud of that, and I'm so incredibly proud of how my body does look and how my body feels and everything else that comes with that, that I don't feel the need to have any cosmetic procedures. But each to their own. I know plenty of girls that have, and they are an inspiration to me. They really are, because they look incredible and they've done something for themselves, and that's the point. It's always got to be for you, and if you want to do something, then you do it. no judgments. That's the way it should be. This is actually a really good question, because I think there is a lot of weight loss surgery options out there. There's the semi-permanent ones, and then there's the permanent ones. I have had people ask me about the semi-permanent options and why I haven't chosen one of them. The semi-permanent options would be a balloon or a gastric band. The simple reason I would not recommend them is obviously when I've done my own research, they are the types of treatments that you do have to have top-ups with. But you have to have like your balloon blown back up, you have to have your band retightened, or I don't know the full ins and outs, but those are the ones that you would have to have like top-ups. And if I'm being honest, when I did my own research into it, the complications and the negative reviews, I'd say, just put me straight off, and I knew I needed something that was permanent and going to be life-changing but for the better. And so that's why for me it was either going to be a bypass or a sleeve. And just for me personally, after doing my own research, I felt like the sleeve was the better option, and that's why I went for a sleeve. But I would always recommend doing your own research. But no, the type of surgery that I went for, a gastric sleeve, you don't need to have any top-ups or anything. You do have to have your bloods done. I think it's 1 month, 6 months and a year post-op, and that's just to check obviously your levels and everything, you know, like your blood count and all the rest of it. But apart from that, no. Obviously they are there on hand if you need any advice. There's no sort of like top-up surgery or anything like that needed. Best advice I can give. Okay, strap yourselves in guys, because this could be a long one. Best advice. Okay, first of all, drop anyone else's negative thoughts and feelings, because at the end of the day you are doing this for you, and not everyone is going to agree with your decision, not everyone is going to understand your decision, and unfortunately there are going to be people who will have something negative to say regardless, because usually it comes from like a place of fear, if it's like friends or family, or just people who don't have the knowledge basically. So my best advice would be, keep it to yourself. Don't tell everyone and anyone if you don't want everyone and anyone's opinion, but stand proud at the fact that you are making a change for you. Don't let anyone try and tell you otherwise, because it is the best decision that you will make, but it's also the hardest. And if you are in the right like mindset, which is my next advice, then you will understand that it's a marathon and not a sprint. I feel like my best advice going into surgery would be that you have to accept that it's going to be hard. It is going to be hard, but with the right mindset and knowing that it will get better, like every day will get better, and before you know it, you will be a year post-op and in such a healthier, happier position that the bad times you won't even remember. I don't remember the bad times. I just remember how my life was beforehand and how grateful and happy I am to have my life now. So yeah, best advice, positive mindset. Go in knowing that it is going to be hard, but it's going to be the best decision that you ever make. And don't take anyone else's negative comments on board. Always remember that you're doing it for you. Always remember your reason why. Did I have my weight loss surgery on the NHS? No, guys, I didn't. And that is no disrespect to anyone who does. At the end of the day, that service is there for a reason. And if you are entitled to it and you are put forward for it and that is the best way for you, then by all means. But no, I went private. I went to a company in Turkey. Cue the eye roll. And yeah, it was incredible. The level of care that I received out there was insane. There is a lot of stigma attached to having surgery abroad, but once again, I do feel like that is a lack of knowledge, and hearing horror stories and creating your own sort of scenario based on what you've heard rather than what you've actually experienced. How long was recovery? So like I've said beforehand, the sleeve operation is keyhole and you are up and about within a few hours, and so therefore recovery is actually quite minimal. I didn't have any surgery pains when I woke up. I felt a little bit of discomfort, but no pains because of surgery. I had gas pain basically. I had trapped wind, and anyone who's had trapped wind will know that pain is intense, but that was the only pain that I experienced, was trapped wind. And obviously, like anything, the more that you get up and move about, the more the wind eases. And recovery was minimal. You can fly home within 4 or 5 days, I think it is. The only thing that you need to be careful of is obviously lifting stuff. You shouldn't be lifting anything more than, I think it's 8 kilos. But yeah, I came home and I drove straight away. I worked from home at that point, so I didn't go back to work as such. But I did work all the way through because my job is from my phone. But I didn't need to take any extra time off for recovery. I think I felt really good by like day 3. Really, really good. I felt like my normal self, and each and every day just gradually got better. And the last question that I'm gonna go through is, can I drink fizzy drinks? Guys, I drink fizzy drinks every single day. Now, I'm not condoning this and I'm not saying that everyone is the same, but I think I had my first fizzy drink around about 6 weeks, and I've drank fizzy drinks every single day. I think it's just about learning how your body copes and what your body can and can't tolerate, especially in the beginning. But no, I don't have any problems drinking fizzy drinks at all. And that is where I'm gonna leave that little question and answer. I feel like I have rabbited on for a good 20 minutes. So yeah, I am gonna edit that down and try and just make sure I stick to the key points, because I can talk for Britain. I do hope that has answered your questions and maybe like eased your mind if you are looking to have weight loss surgery or you've had weight loss surgery. And obviously my inbox over on Instagram is open anytime that anyone wants to have a chat. I do have highlights from before my weight loss surgery, during my weight loss surgery, and then the months afterwards. So make sure you do go and check them out if you do have any more questions or anything that I have missed. But yeah, I hope that does help, guys. It has been one of my most eagerly awaited videos that you guys have wanted me to do for a while. For now, I'm gonna finish my iced coffee, make myself some breakfast, and yeah, I will see you guys really soon on next week's vlog.